What's happening, everybody? Got a shred-tastic and prolific drummer in Dave Witte, who's played with everyone from his present band, Municipal Waste, who I so happened to catch up with in Brooklyn when they played with Nuclear Assault, Toxic Holocaust, and Haunt. And we were also able to get into some of Dave's previous bands, such as Burnt by the Sun, Melt Banana, Discordance Axis, and many more. But yeah, it was just awesome rapping with him about some of his past projects, present ones, being sick on gigs, drum injuries, Burnt by the Sun, and fellow mathcore bands of the early 2000s such as Botched, Macedon, Dillinger, Dysrhythmia, and more. Plus influential drummers ranging from Buddy Rich to Lars Ulrich, Phil Rudd, Glenn Evans, Dave Lombardo, and Brandon Thomas. And of course a little vinyl geek out session. And a whole lot more, actually. Also be on the lookout for Municipal Waste coming to a town near you through November 26th and pick it back up in Europe in January. Links in the description for dates, etc. Crash Bang Boom is available on iTunes, Podcast, SoundCloud, Stitcher, my YouTube channel, and of course Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and more. Links for all said accounts can be found on my SoundCloud page, or you can just search them like everyone else under the sun. Shout out to my sponsor, New Orleans Record Press. If you're looking at releasing vinyl, go on over to NewOrleansRecordPress.com to look at myriad vinyl coloring, packaging, mastering, electroplating, lacquer cutting options, as well as a real-time quote generator. And they print both 12-inch and 7-inch records in 150-gram and 180-gram variants. So yeah, go check them out if you're looking to put an ounce of vinyl. And that's NewOrleansRecordPress.com. If I read that any faster, I'd be one of those auction rednecks. So maybe I could do that in my next life. Or maybe I'll just be a manatee and I can just float around and eat and not give a fuck. Just got to watch out for boat propellers. So here we go, y'all. One of the extreme drumming pioneers. The Speed King, if you will. And yes, that's a Deep Purple reference. The one and only Dave Witte, y'all. Crash Bang Boom.
Crowds go mad with joy.
All right, well, I'm sitting here with one of the more prolific drummers in metal, the one and only Dave Witte of Municipal Waste. How's it going?
Good.
Thanks for sitting down with me, man. I've been trying to catch up with you. You're a busy guy and have done no shortage of projects throughout the year, so I'll have to pick your brain as to the extreme nature of your endeavors on the drums over the years.
Sweet. I like staying busy, so.
I know, man. You have clearly done a good job at that. What's going on right now? Municipal Waste is out on tour. About 3 weeks or so?
It's a 3-week run. Yeah, we're probably a quarter of our way through it.
Nice. And y'all are here, obviously, at Warsaw and Greenpoint, Brooklyn. I live down the street, so this couldn't have been easier for me.
Yeah, we're psyched to be here. It's our first time here, and I've loved pierogies, so I'm really excited to eat some pierogies for dinner.
Oh, right on. Well, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I actually spoke to Dale from the Melvins here as well. It's trippy for the listeners. We're sitting in a room that's taking me back. I feel like I'm in kindergarten or something right now.
Yeah, it does seem like a classroom.
Yeah, it's really strange. I guess it was like part school, part social club, part daycare, part venue or something at some point. I don't know.
Seems like it, yeah.
It's really strange, man. Originally, y'all were supposed to be out here with High on Fire, but Matt Pike had to go get a toe removed,
Yeah,
right?
Matt had to have some emergency procedure, amputate his toe, and we were kind of, oh, man, this sucks. We really want him on tour, but we decided to go through it, and we're glad we did because every night's been really strong.
Awesome.
It's been a really low amount of ticket returns, which was really, nice to hear, and every show's been great every night. And then tonight we have the special edition of Nuclear Assault,
right?
Which has a super, place in my heart from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I always loved Nuclear Assault more than most of the bands from their genre because of the drummer, Glenn Evans.
Right.
He had a groove that no other guy in that music had to me. That swing.
Uh-huh.
And so I can't wait to see them tonight.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, has Municipal Waste been out with High on Fire previously?
We've played some shows, but we've never toured with them.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, Matt Pike, he seems like quite a character.
He's an awesome guy. He's the riff lord.
He really is. It's crazy. That guy just has to be physically vibrating with stacks behind him and rocking riffs.
Yeah, it just comes out of him. I don't know how, no one else can do it the way he does. He writes the greatest riffs, and I'm a huge High on Fire fan.
Yeah, man.
All those guys are great. We're bummed that they can't be here, but we're going to keep, show must go on, as they say.
I hear you. Well, man, early on you mentioned obviously Nuclear Assault and their drummer and whatnot. What was one of the gateway records that made you A, want to play heavy music, or B, play the drums, or was it are they one and the same? Was it a single record that was?
AC/DC was my foundation for everything. Phil Rudd was the man. I learned everything from him. Then I wanted to, obviously everyone wanted to be Lars Ulrich.
Right.
I did. I loved Metallica more than anything. And, and I went into Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and all that.
Right,
Slayer.
all the Brit rock, yeah.
And then the guy that changed my life, well, Dave Lombardo changed the game completely.
Which album in particular?
Rain and Blood, the double bass fill. Everybody was like, oh, my God, what is that? And, I wound up meeting Dave, over the last couple of years. And what a great guy. Great, normal, down-to-earth dude who just happens to be an amazing drummer who changed metal drumming forever.
For sure.
Is also a really great guy, and that was super comforting. It was Dave, and then this local guy in town from this band, Ripping Corpse, Brandon Thomas.
Okay, because you grew up in Jersey, right?
Yeah, that guy changed my world completely with his drumming. I was my biggest influence.
Really?
For sure, yeah.
I'm assuming part of that lied within you being able to see the physicality of what he was doing.
Yeah.
Whereas in the albums pre-internet, you're removed from seeing the physicality once again of what people are doing on drumming, but when you have a local guy where you can see it and have it affect you like that, that's a different thing.
Not only did I get to see it all the time, he was faster than everyone else. His fills were better than everyone. Like, he was the total, where did this person come from, and why is he better than all these guys that I love that have albums out? I was so young, I didn't get it, but he was so far advanced. It was like the ultimate tool to latch onto and learn.
That's wild.
He was amazing.
Do you know what he was into, and maybe what kind of led him to that accelerated curve?
He got taught by this local guy named Bob Butterfield, who was a jazz guy in Red Bank years ago.
Nice.
And he just took it his own way and ran with it.
Wow.
His double bass was faster than everybody's. Single stroke rolls. His fills. He did fills like no one else I had ever. He had such a great brain, musical brain for fills and beats within riffs. Yeah, so he was my biggest influence.
That's wild. How old were you when you were seeing him?
17, 18.
When did you first start playing the drums, and how did you kind of get led to them anyway?
Young, I learned. I was into it, and then I got sick with Guillain-Barré syndrome when I was 10.
What is it?
Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Never even heard of it.
It's like a disease you develop from like a flu shot or influenza or something like that.
Oh.
And it destroyed all the nerves and muscles in my body. I was paralyzed from the neck down for like almost 2 years.
Jesus, dude.
So my uncle was a drummer who also has the meanest shuffle in the game.
Really?
Gave me drumsticks to rebuild my hands and everything, and here we are today.
Whoa. That is crazy,
Yeah, it's
dude.
pretty neat.
Your road to recovery ended up being what you've now pursued in life. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, but I got real serious like senior year of high school.
Okay.
That's when I really started realizing, this is what I want to do.
Were you doing anything
it's late.
with high school band or marching band or any of that stuff, or was
I
it?
joined marching band and quit the same day. It was so boring.
That's hilarious.
So I wanted to play a drum set.
Really? Wow, so you lasted one day in marching band.
Yeah, I wasn't into it.
I did it for 3 years, but I never really had to actually march with the band, because whenever I did, I was like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But it's different down in Louisiana and New Orleans and everything, because it's such a drumming culture, and you have Mardi Gras, and you have parades, and you have different outlets to do with marching band.
Yeah.
But even at that, once I got the drum set, I was like, I'm not going to go do this band shit. Like, I want to go home and play my drums.
Yeah, like thinking back, I probably would have did me a lot of good learning all that stuff. But yeah, I mean,
your hands are pretty fucking fast.
Yeah.
I think you figured out the speed thing regardless.
Brandon Thomas and Buddy Rich.
Right on. Yeah. The Buddy thing is crazy, man. Just to watch him, an old man hunched over, sweating his ass off, and still ripping. Crushing solos.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? I mean, that just goes to show you what form, and having that sort of fundamental game intact, that even at that age, he could still do it.
It's crazy. Like, when you watch those videos, you're like, holy shit, man. How are they going that fast?
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I love watching some of the battles that he would do with like Gene Krupa, and I particularly like those because Gene, by contrast, was a more simplistic drummer. So it's kind of nice to have that juxtaposition.
Yeah,
and
the live record is great.
It's awesome.
I have that one, and I have another one too.
Yeah, I had the live one with him and Gene Krupa. There's one of those battles where they're just going back and forth, and man, some of the shit that Buddy is doing in that, I've tried to figure it out. I could never do it. I approximate it, but I feel like it's still miles away.
Yeah,
you know?
There's only one Buddy Rich, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah. I mean, how hilarious is that tape of him ranting and raving and talking about firing the band and all that?
Yeah, he was a hardcore dude every way possible, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there was really successful, almost militant-like dudes, you know, like James Brown was a similar, super intense guy.
Fine you if you made a mistake.
Gotcha. Yeah, he'll even say it. Look at you, say, I got you. Yeah. Shit, man. I clearly have never been in an environment like that.
Yeah,
musically.
me neither. Luckily.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, dude. Well, at some point, you start doing discordance axis. I always want to say discordant axis.
It's discordance.
I know. It's hard for me to pronounce. It's like it brings up some sort of speech impediment I didn't know
We always say disco dance axis.
There you go. Disco dance axis?
Yeah.
I'm good with that. I like
the
that.
goof.
Yeah. Well, y'all started doing that, and that by most accounts, pretty extreme band. What were y'all into at the time, and did you feel like there were other sort of similar bands out there, or where were y'all even received?
Napalm Death.
Okay, that's
Terrorizer.
kind of what it goes back to, right?
Yeah, I mean, fast music. I met John. He came to see He Remains when we were playing with Entombed.
Oh, wow.
On the Clandestine record.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
And John was like, "Oh man, I really liked you guys. Do you want to do a grind band?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" I'd never met John before, and
yeah,
I just loved playing fast. Yeah, he liked it, and so we got along. And Rob, the guitar player, so we wrote some really cool fast music. That's when we were out to be the fastest thing ever.
It's that shit is brutally fast.
It's so crazy now. It's so much. People are going so much faster. It's ridiculous. Like the technique involved.
I know
what everybody's doing.
Yeah,
it's unreal, man.
I know. Do you feel like in relation to watching some of those uber efficient, super, super fast guys, are you like, God, I'm just like a punk rock drummer over here?
Yeah, I couldn't do what they're doing now. I mean, it's just evolved. We talk about this often, me and Phil, the bass player for Waste. It's like everything is so readily available and visually available, like YouTube.
Yeah. That's 100. It's a completely different world.
It raises the bar. You're able to learn anything.
Absolutely.
The standard is so much higher.
100%.
Now you got to crush the standard, which is even higher and higher. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No, I talk about it with drummers all the time, and it's just I'm 42 years old, so I definitely recall the process of I like to make jokes about like what it would be to even go get like an instructional VHS tape. That was the way that you would find that, like if you wanted to see specifically what a guy was doing, you could do that. But then you'd go to the music store and they're like, "Oh no, we sold out of that." Or these were all these weird processes that you had to go through to get information. And now that it's just instantaneously accessible, it's like you said. I mean, it's just expedited the curve. It's crazy.
I mean, you can actually see it and stop it and rewind it and slow it down. And it's so much easier to learn these days.
Absolutely,
everything's at your fingertips.
Yeah. So it's no wonder when you see like kids just fucking shredding.
Yeah.
You're like, how did this happen? Oh, right. That's access to information.
It's pretty amazing how far it's gone.
It really has. Yeah.
It's so much fun to watch too. You're like going to see a show and I love having my mind blown.
Yeah.
By something I haven't seen yet. It still happens.
That's good.
It doesn't happen all the time, but
right.
Sometimes you're like, yeah, man. All right, finally, here we go. Here's something. The next step.
Well, it's fun. I mean, when y'all were doing Discordance Access, that was like early 90s?
Yeah.
Wow. So that's y'all are. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it because I mean, you have the grunge happening, you've got all this stuff happening, and then y'all are in the absolute grindcore fringe, crazy shit. Like
we ran down the other way of the street.
I know, seriously, right? Yeah. What were reactions to y'all playing live initially? Were people freaked out?
No one got it, man. Like early on, there was like 10 people at the show. Like played basement with the I don't know how to pronounce the band, Borbega Magus. It was like a horn band.
Oh.
It was like 7 people there.
Really?
Yeah, towards the end, people started showing up, like when we were calling it a day at CBGB's. Right. People started showing up, and people really like the band now, like years later. Yeah. Same thing with He Remains.
Right.
Yeah, it's like people didn't get it.
Yeah, I bet.
I was just talking to someone else, and I said to them, like, my favorite quote was like, yeah, we had no idea what we were doing way before anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. Very
More
true.
or less, yeah.
Were y'all big elsewhere, like outside of the United States? I think I read maybe like Japan was.
We did a few tours in Japan, and they were super well received. And then we did the one show on the West Coast in California, the only show, and people went nuts.
Really?
Yeah, because it was the Fiesta Grande. It was a festival full of music. What we were doing, so we were on home turf.
Kindred spirits.
Yeah, we played 3 songs, and we heard a roar like we had never heard before. So we were like, "Holy moly!" It just gave me all the momentum I needed to blow through the rest of the set.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a great experience.
That's amazing, man. So it sounds like you didn't really study with anybody drum set wise.
No,
You just
man,
been learning on the gig.
Yeah, all by ear. And then
Yeah.
I took like a month of swing with this guy Gene in New Jersey, like in my 20s.
Yeah.
And that was about it because I felt like I was, I needed to learn some other stuff.
Yeah.
But now, like, I think I need to take some more lessons and round a couple other corners. And the thing is finding time to do it now.
Right.
And like, I'm slowly falling like back in love with drumming, like learning, because from touring and playing same
Right.
songs so many times, I feel like I need more, and I want to be able to do more.
Yeah.
And the one guy that's really super impressive and blown me away is this guy named Carter McLean.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's awesome. I've had him on the podcast.
Wow, what a great player.
He's awesome.
I found out of him by that really amazing Instagram page, Play This Beat.
Oh, interesting.
Do you know about it?
I don't know.
It's awesome.
Okay.
It's all these guys playing beats and girls, and then other people playing their version of the beat, trying to learn it. It's a really great place to learn stuff.
Oh, interesting. I got to check it out.
Yeah, it's cool. And I saw him on there.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, whoa, who's this guy?
Yeah, he's
Blew
great.
my mind. It was cool.
Yeah, he has a real soft technique and touch in it, but he's super, super groovy, super swingy.
He's got it all.
You had mentioned drummers blowing your mind, and one of the guys that I remember asking myself, what the fuck am I seeing, is a guy also from Jersey and Chris Penny in the Dillinger Escape Plan, because I saw them open up for Mr. Bungle's California tour, and I knew nothing of them and just walked in as a blank slate and was like, what? What the hell is this? I couldn't believe what I was seeing when I saw him play.
Yeah, Penny was sick. He was way ahead of everybody.
Yeah. Did, taking it a little bit forward, I guess, did Burnt by the Sun do some runs with
Yeah, we
Dillinger?
played with them quite a bit.
I thought y'all did.
Yeah. There's another Jersey guy that's just as good, super amazing. His name's Chris Maggio.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know him.
And he studied with Joe Morello.
Oh, wow. Holy
so he
moly.
had those Joe Morello hands.
Oh, whoa.
Holy shit.
Yeah, another guy that had some hands.
Yeah, Maggio was so sick. There's videos of him you can find where you're like, God damn, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always got so excited watching him play.
Absolutely.
Him and Chris were the same. Chris was more technical, and like Maggio was like a raw animal, but had all those rudimentary skills.
Yeah, man.
It was, you'd look some shit up, man. It's
Absolutely.
Cool.
Now, did Chris, did he play in Trap Them?
Yeah, for a bit he did, yeah.
He had an amazing thing where he could create what sounded like double bass parts, and he was doing it
with the floor.
Yeah, fast as hell.
Yeah, what a great player.
Yeah, he's a badass.
And he shaved one of his fingers off while playing in a door.
Are you serious?
Yeah, like working on his house, and I saw him like a couple months later, and he played, and he was still just as good.
Ripping?
Like missing a finger.
Holy
still killing it.
Oh my God, dude. When you look back at like the Burnt by the Sun era, and playing with Dillinger and some of those bands, it was an interesting, I guess that's kind of late 90s, early 2000s, where you had Botch, you had Dillinger, you had you guys, you had Coalesce, you had a lot of...
Candiria, too. Kenny was a monster.
Oh, dude, I've had Ken on the podcast.
Yeah.
I've taken a lesson with him.
Kenny's great. I've known Kenny since the early 90s, since the Human Remains days.
Yeah, he is incredible. He's one of the few guys that I've seen that really combines bombast with technique really, really well.
Yeah, he's super good.
Holy moly. Or do you record a track or something with Candiria at some point? Speaking of Candiria?
Yeah, he was like, hey, you want to come up and record this thing? And he's like, do whatever you want, but this is what I want you to do, direction-wise.
Oh, nice.
So I played it, and I was like, well, how was that? And he goes, it was great, man, killer. You're done.
No shit?
Yeah, it was like one take.
Wow.
And then he did his thing with it, and it was cool. It was a good experience. I always loved Kenny.
Yeah.
Still do. I talk to him every now and then.
I was joking with him when I did the interview with him, because when I took my drum lesson with him, he came over to my spot and he just completely rearranged my drum set. He was like, ergonomically, you're just not doing this right. And I was like, dude, you're going to rearrange my drum set? You know, I'm like a quarter century into drumming, and this dude's rearranging my drum set. Lo and behold, I actually picked up a few things from him, in particular, like the angle of my bass drum and doing some weird little things that he had mentioned that I had never thought about.
Do you work on your posture too?
Well, a little bit. My posture was okay. I was leaning because I had just started to play double bass, and it was a little awkward for me and kind of a slow skill set to acquire.
Right.
More stubborn than any other stuff for me, you know? And he noticed that I was leaning a little bit one way, so he was like, you got to change the setup a little bit because you're leaning that way.
It makes sense. It's
Yeah.
wasted energy.
Exactly, and that's why it was like hurting my leg a little bit more. I was like, "What is going on here?" And yeah, I didn't have a mirror set up to look at myself to see what the hell I was doing. So Ken was my mirror.
Yeah, it was really helpful. Yeah, Kenny's great. He's full of knowledge.
Absolutely, man. When you look back at some of those bands, do you have any particular favorite of that scene from the late '90s, early 2000s?
All those guys were great. And like one of my favorites though that totally underrated actually lives here is Jeff Eber from Dysrhythmia.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Monster. Man.
Oh, totally.
Holy moly.
Yeah, that guy's crazy.
He'd be playing drum set would be like falling to pieces, crushing it. He was like he was the hardest hitting train guy I saw.
Really?
Like, growing up. Him and the other end of the spectrum was Will Scharf, the guy from Keelhaul.
Right.
He's like a wrecking ball.
Oh, he's wild. I just spoke to John Severson of Daughters. Daughters came through, and he actually mentioned being a fan of you, by the way.
I like John. He's a good guy.
Yeah. They sounded incredible, man. I saw them 2 nights in a row.
I toured with them, too. When I drummed for Mel Banana, we toured with them into Daughters years ago.
Okay, what album were they touring off of? Because I know their first record, they were saying like people just hated them.
I don't remember. That was in between 2002 and 2005.
Okay, so somewhere there. It could have been Hell Songs, potentially, I think.
I think that might be it.
Okay,
actually, yeah.
Right on. So they had switched it up a little bit. That's a really cool record, but man, I can't say enough of how killer that band was, the 2 nights in a row.
They were great. They
when I
were
saw
fun to
them.
watch every night.
Yeah.
It was cool. Lots of energy.
Yeah, and their new record is awesome. It's weird, and it's just wild. It's great production. And
I haven't heard it yet. I want to check it out.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, they're always evolving and doing expect the unexpected with them, you know.
Cool.
And this album is definitely keeping true to that. Did you get a chance to see Botch at any point?
Yeah, a lot of times.
Okay.
One of my favorites. You know, We Are the Romans still holds up for me.
Well, I was going to say
great drummer too.
Super unorthodox in his approach
Weird.
and what he orchestrated as drum parts.
It was almost like slow and behind at points,
Right.
but it was intentional.
Yeah, 100%.
And it really lent itself to the song.
In theory, it's kind of simple what he was doing. When you look at it in the context of the song, the collective of it is bizarre, and it's counter to what else is going on there. It's very independent. What he orchestrated.
Yeah.
So
I
I always was just like, wow, that whole band is just insanity. Unfortunately, I never got to see him live though.
Man, that was something to see.
Man, great, absolutely outrageous guitar playing and just the whole band.
Dave went on to do Minus the Bear, and I was a
Exactly.
huge fan. I would just go all the shows to watch him, and I wound up liking the band. But that guy's a wizard and a genius on guitar. One of my favorite players.
He really is. So it sounds like we're on the same page about We Are the Romans, and I was going to say, when I listen to that record, I'm just like, wow, man.
So great.
When you were doing Burnt by the Sun, and once again in that era, did you have a sense of like, this is kind of a cool thing we all have going on here? And did it seem like a bit of a community and like a thing was happening?
Totally. Yeah, we were all good friends. We played a bunch of shows together. And you know, the most important guy that we're missing with all these bands is Braun.
Right. No shit, right?
Daler.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I've known Braun since the early Human Remains days, too. They used to come down and stay at my house, and we'd stay at his house and all that.
That's wild. Yeah, I saw him multiple times on the Remission era, you know, so that's probably that's early 2000s as well. And I remember thinking, my God, Braun was just
beast.
Holy shit. It's fucking, punk rock Billy Cobham. It was nuts. Yep. It was crazy, though, when I saw him and I talked to him and I asked him after one of those shows who he was into, and he said Phil Collins, which surprised me.
Yeah, he loves Foxtrot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now that I've listened and delved more into some of the Phil Collins kind of fusion-y stuff, whether it's Brand X or Genesis or whatever, it totally makes sense now. I don't think I knew so much about it at the time. So when he said it, I was like, Phil Collins, you know? But Phil Collins is a bad motherfucker.
He is.
Yeah. Here's a question for you then, I guess. You're around all this heavy music. You're playing heavy music. You've been eating, breathing, sleeping heavy music for a long time. When you're not playing it, what are you listening to?
Everything.
Really?
I just want to absorb everything. If it's good, I'll like it. You know, I have a really wide taste range. I'll listen to a lot of, you know, like soundscape type stuff, and I still hip hop, prog rock, black metal, You name it. I know. I just love music. I always want to hear something new and cool.
I hear you.
And I like, pop too. Some of it, not all of it.
Do you collect vinyl?
Yeah, I just actually got back into it. It's so fucking exciting.
It's super exciting.
Because I have my hit list, and I'm collecting all the classics that I loved, and
Right.
I'm trying not to spend too much money.
Right.
So I have a $10 limit for used records.
I'm on the same plan.
But I'm getting really specific because I'll go see, oh, yeah, I have this list, and I'll see something else. Oh, yeah, that's a really good record, too. And I have to, like, shut my brain off and go, nope. I have a list, and I got to stick to it.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to fall down the rabbit hole collecting vinyl. All my friends are like,
it's crazy town.
Obsessed with it.
And my friends, one in particular, the guy in my band, he's one of those guys that gets like the particular release of it with a particular vinyl coloring option and all this shit. So he's spending like $25-$30 on all these records and buying shit tons of them.
That's cool. One of the most important ones I got recently was Led Zeppelin Presence, because that's my favorite. That's the Led Zeppelin record that made me a Led Zeppelin fan. I couldn't stand Led Zeppelin when I was a kid growing up. I didn't get it. All my friends were into it. I didn't like it at all. And, John Bonham's amazing. Don't get me wrong.
No doubt.
But I just didn't care. I didn't get it, And then at a family reunion, some guy was there. We were talking music, and he goes, you know what? You should check out the album Presence. I think you might like it.
Does that have Achilles' Last Stand on it?
Yeah, that's my favorite song.
That's the jam.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, my God, this is great. So, and then I opened up myself to Led Zeppelin and then realized the greatness. So I finally got that on vinyl, and it made me really happy.
Speaking of which, I was turned off. I got into Zeppelin growing up in the South. Like, it was just classic rock radio, so Zeppelin was on all the time. So it was just overabundance, and I was kind of not into it because of that.
Yeah.
But one of those bands, just because rednecks were so much into Lynyrd Skynyrd, I was like, I'm not going to listen to Lynyrd Skynyrd because all these fucking assholes that I go to high school with love them, and
Yep.
And then recently I was like, man, maybe I'm going to check out like those first couple of Skynyrd records. And of course, they're totally badass.
Yeah.
They rule. They're so good. It's crazy.
It's really awesome going back and listening to stuff that you like didn't get. Now you're like, oh, yeah, all right, this is amazing. This is totally great. Yeah. It's like there's no reason to skip the classics because they're classics for a reason.
Yeah, and weird shit. Like once I got into that, I was like, well, wait a minute, maybe I should check out some of this other Southern rock stuff. And then I ended up getting a couple of Marshall Tucker records, and I was like, oh, this shit is great, Yeah,
and all that stuff. I mean, early ZZ Top, like
oh my God, it's killer. Yeah, even Atlanta Rhythm Section, strangely enough, they've got one called Rock and Roll Alternative or something like that.
Yeah,
and it's awesome. It's another one of those records. And for me, once again, going back to like the the age of instantaneous information, it's pretty easy to be pretty ADD about shit. And when you get a record, you're forced to generally listen to the whole thing. And it's forced me to do that. Yeah. Before, I was only digitally, like, I'm just skipping around on songs. When you have to physically go over there and flip the record or whatever, you're like, yeah, I'm going to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's like a ritual.
Absolutely.
You're compelled to listen to the whole thing.
I love it.
Which I like.
It's changed up my listening habits. That's the interesting thing about it. Well, going forward, I guess Municipal Waste. Originally, obviously, we said you were in Jersey. Did you move to Virginia to play with them? Or
I moved to Virginia for a lady.
Oh.
And then I wound up joining the band.
Ah, well, that's serendipitous.
Yeah, and Burnt by the Sun, was kind of fizzling out tour-wise, and I wanted to keep going. So I went out for a weekend with those guys, had the time of my life, and I was like, yeah, I'll join the band.
That's awesome.
I had a blast.
It's got to be a kind of funny throwback, right? That you obviously growing up listening to thrash and doing all this stuff.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. I could never find anybody to do it in New Jersey. And then these guys wanted to do something I wanted to do years ago.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
That's awesome.
And it's fun. Time of my life.
It really seems like a fun band.
It's so much fun. It's not. We're serious, but we don't take ourselves too seriously.
That's an important distinction.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you can't have fun, what's the point?
Exactly.
And then here we are, Nuclear Assault's on the bill tonight.
Right.
I did my first stage dive to Nuclear Assault when I was, I don't know, in 1986.
The cycle of it all.
14 or 16 or some shit like that. I don't remember.
Wow. all that you've been playing so many shows throughout the years, what's the sickest you've ever been in playing a show?
Oh, probably Quebec City in 2007 on tour with Destruction. I was seeing double and over and throwing up the whole time.
During the set?
Yeah.
You just had a trash can next to you vomiting in it?
Yep. I had the flu worse than I've ever had it. And I remember like having a problem walking afterwards, and like I just needed to sleep. And our van froze solid.
Holy shit!
It wouldn't work because it was so cold. I felt like such shit.
That sounds god awful.
Yeah, it was. So yeah, that's that.
You were like, oh, actually, yeah. Let me tell you about this one.
Yeah, I was thinking about that earlier, actually.
Really?
Funny enough.
Holy shit, dude! That is a pretty.
That was
brutal.
no fun.
Yeah, that was the exception to the fun rule.
And
for
it was
sure.
like, oh well, there's Snake from Voivod watching me right now, ruin this because I feel like shit.
Oh man. There's an oddball band, Voivod, and a band that I absolutely love, man.
Yeah, me too. I always loved how they did whatever they wanted and they didn't really care.
Absolutely. Another super badass guitarist. Talk about an original style.
Yeah.
You know, especially for me, like Dimension Hates Ross and Nothing Face. That's when I got into them, and it's to this day I listen to. And they just put out a record this year. I was like, oh shit, this thing is awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. Daniel did a great job picking up for Piggy.
He really did.
Yeah, it was the only time I've ever seen. I have so many special memories of Voivod because I love them. Killing Technology was the first one I got into,
Okay.
and then Dimension Hate Trust came in. That's my favorite record. And in Nothing Face, I was like, oh my god.
Holy shit.
And then Angel Rat came out, and they were like, oh my god, what's this all about? I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Years later, I got it. But they were so unique and original, and it was the only time where I've seen such a passionate fan base for them, where people were so devastated when Piggy died.
For sure.
Because he was such, like he was fucking the sound of
Totally.
Voivod. A huge part of it, not all of it.
Yeah.
You know? And like, how could you possibly go on with it, someone else? And he did such a great job
It's incredible.
emulating and moving forward and keeping the spirit alive. And then the fans were so accepting of it.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh my God, we still have our Voivod. And when they came to Richmond a few years back, a memory I'll never forget, they were so great. Like Snakes said something, he lifted his arms up in the air, and like people are cheering. And I looked around the room. It was like 250 cap room packed.
Yeah.
And there was a smile on everyone's face. I was like, this is amazing. It was like, what a fucking great moment in time. It was so awesome.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Well, conversely, have you had to play through any injuries? How are you doing holding up physically?
My arm and my hand are fucked up. I can't,
Are they?
Yeah.
It's just an ongoing thing?
Yeah, I've been to every person you could possibly think of, and they can't figure out what it is.
Really?
Yep.
Is it wrist and forearm?
Wrist and this, and just gives out, so I can't really do high-speed, repetitive blast beats.
Ah.
I can still play, but I just don't have the strength that I did. You know, I feel like a lion without my mane at sometimes, to be honest with you.
No shit?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But it's frustrating, but I just adjust and play the way I can for what I need to do.
Yeah. Is it physically painful, like doing the...
Sometimes, yeah.
Like even with Municipal Waste even?
Yeah. Brain Tentacles, it really hurt. Like I did a tour
Right.
of Brain Tentacles.
Damn.
But it's weird. It's feeling really good on this one. And believe it or not, I've lightened up on the alcohol. I'm not really drinking before.
Right on.
I have a couple after we're done, and that's
Yeah.
about it. And I'm playing a lot better.
I bet.
I think so, yeah.
Huh, that's interesting. I know a lot of people have been talking about CBD oil being a pretty...
Oh, I love it. I use it all the time.
Do you really?
Yep.
Yeah, I need to get on it.
It's great. Like I'm so pro weed.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the greatest things ever invented.
It's
Natural
pretty
creations.
Yeah.
I don't smoke it. I don't enjoy it. It makes me think too hard and I get paranoid. But God, it's a no-brainer why that stuff is so great and why it should be readily available for everyone.
Right on. Yeah.
Just saying.
I 100% agree with you.
And it's CBDs. It's perfect for me because I don't have the psychoactive.
It's not psychoactive. Damn. All right.
It's
You
really
sold
good.
me. Fucking hey.
For real.
Right on, man. Well, are you still doing the vegan food truck?
Yeah. And we're about to open a restaurant in like 2 weeks.
No way.
We just cleared our health permit yesterday. Health inspection. Yeah.
What's the name of the food truck?
It's going to be called Hang Space. The food truck's called Go Vegan Go.
Okay.
And then the restaurant's going to be called Hang Space.
Nice.
It's a group combo between us and this other woman, Tracy, in town, that has a vegan home meal delivery system.
Uh-huh.
It'll be all plant-based.
Okay.
It'll be an ever-changing menu, and it'll be like catering, prepping, events. We're going to call it an eatery.
Okay.
Because we're not going to be open all the time.
Right.
We don't want to be open all the time.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, you're of the drummers that I've spoken to, you are clearly the first one that I know guys have different jobs that they do when they're not touring. You're the first food truck guy.
Cool.
Congrats. You get a plaque of some kind.
Thanks. Yeah, Ryan, the new band Trappist, Ryan Harkins, the drummer for that, had the Grill 'Em All food truck. He won the Great Food Truck Race.
Whoa.
And now they have a restaurant called Grill 'Em All in Alhambra in California.
No shit.
So he's like the OG food truck drummer.
That's amazing. All right. So there's one other guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got to give him props.
Right on. Well, shit, Dave, it was fun talking to you, man. Appreciate catching up, and good luck on the rest of this tour, my man.
Thanks.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to Dave for being such a down-to-earth dude and for taking the time to shoot the shit with yours truly. Keep your eyes peeled for Dave's mini projects. Dude is a monster. And we'll catch you on the next one. Until then, crash, bang, boom.